Good morning. It's still quite early, so I'm making sure I'm going lovely and slow past any moored boats because they'll be fast asleep. But it's lovely and fresh this morning, and hopefully it's going to be a nice day. And my objective is to get through Wolverhampton and out the other side. Leaving Hatherton Branch behind, I continue to head south on the Staffordshire and Worcestershire Canal. Travelling under the M54 motorway, I pass through a very narrow cutting. Authorley Junction leads onto the Shropshire Union Canal to the west, and Aldersley Junction where the main line starts to the east. With Dunstall Park Racecourse neighbouring the canal, I travel through the suburbs of Wolverhampton. I was due to meet up with some friends at Wombourne, and Bratch Locks are just north of the town. I stayed the night just south of Wombourne and proceeded to get stuck in Botterham Staircase Locks early the next morning. Very hot weather was forecast, so I was eager to continue south, where I moored up in dense wood, shading us from the sun just south of Prestwood Bridge. As I come down into Wolverhampton, just up ahead there is a very narrow cutting, and it's only just about wide enough for one boat. Here we go. Hopefully I won't meet anyone coming in the opposite direction because I can't see because all of the trees have grown down over the canal. It is a lot narrower though, and only just wide enough for one boat. There are little passing places like this, dotted down this stretch, but I'm so pleased I've chosen to travel along this section really early in the morning, because I really wouldn't like to meet another boat coming in the opposite direction, because you'd probably have to reverse quite a lot and get into one of these passing areas, but I haven't met anyone yet, thank goodness. Just to the right here is the Shropshire Union Canal. Maybe one day I'll actually finish that one. You wouldn't think we're just on the outskirts of Wolverhampton, would you? This stretch of canal is really pretty and very quiet. It's got lots of cyclists and lots of walkers and dog walkers. And it's quite busy with the boats today. virtually every single lock there's been another one waiting to go up or down, but that's what nice weather does for you. So here I am at Wombourne. It's just sort of southeast of Wolverhampton, and I have arrived at Bratch Locks. There's 3 locks back to back, and it's a flight of locks. There is a lockkeeper on duty, which is a blessing because they're very deep locks. Okay, I'm at Bottom staircase locks. I've never had this before, and we've got a bit of an issue. The boat is ever so slightly angled in the lock, and because of that it's wedged, and it's a good foot above the water, hanging above the water. To try and explain what happened, here is a rather rough diagram. Alice is currently sitting in the top pound, or the canal, before the lock. As both locks were already full, I opened the top gate and moved Alice in. I closed the top gate. All good so far. As per the instructions at the lock, I opened the gate paddle on the very bottom gate. This is when I made a huge error. I then opened the gate paddles on the middle gate, thinking I was clever and I'd get through the staircase quicker. Both lock chambers have the same amount of water in them. Instead of waiting for the bottom lock to fully empty and closing the bottom gate paddle, I let too much water out of both chambers. So when that lock emptied, because of the angle of the lock, Alice got wedged in the lock. And I tried moving up, I came down the ladder and tried moving forwards, and it wouldn't move. And I thought, well, why is it not moving? And then I looked down, and the propeller was virtually sticking out of the water. And I was like, ah, right, okay. So effectively this lock hadn't got enough water in it to let it drift straight through. So I stood there and wondered what on earth I should do. Open those gates. So I had the full channel, and the only thing I could do is open a ground paddle ever so slightly on the top gate and let a bit more water into both, and eventually, because of that, Alice rose in both locks and was able to move forward. Here's what I should have done. I should have opened the bottom gate paddles and emptied the bottom lock chamber completely. I should have then closed the bottom gate paddles before continuing. I could have then moved Alice into the top lock chamber and opened the middle gate paddle. As both lock chambers have the same amount of water in them, the level would have equalised correctly, and I could carry on down through the second staircase lock and onto the bottom canal. I am sorry to say, filming all of this wasn't my primary goal here. Alice could have at any moment become unwedged and dangerously drop down in the chamber. If one end had stayed wedged, I could have very quickly and very easily have flooded the boat and destroyed my home. So I needed to act quickly. It was a bit of a scary moment when your boat wedges in the lock and the water of the lock is lower than your boat. Follow the signs and don't open the middle gate to try and speed things up. Empty this lock, close the paddles, then deal with the next lock. That's all I can say. It was literally 20 to 30 seconds, enough time for me to get up there, open both paddles and come back. And of course you don't know until both are level, and then you realise, oh, hang on a minute, there's a couple of foot or a metre or less than a metre less water in both locks, and because of that Alice got wedged. But Well, that was an interesting way to start the day, and it's not even 9 o'clock. Oh dear. So I just came up to the last lock, and that was a really good example of how being nice and polite and making nice comments helps you. It's something in life in general, really. Lots of garages will have this sort of special tax. I'm going to have to bleep that word, so I apologise. If you turn up to a garage, or if you just turn up to a lock and ignore people, then they're not going to help you. Back at that lock, there were 2 Canal and River Trust members of staff. They were busy cutting the grass and making the place look good. And I went up and said hello, thanked them for their work, and said that it looked much better, because it did. And I got into a bit of a conversation whilst the lock was filling up with water. Because of that, at the end, they could see I was on my own, and as I was climbing back down onto the roof of the boat, they said, "Don't worry mate, we'll close the gates for you." So it's just a bit of nice, a bit of pleasantry goes a long way, because otherwise I would have had to have stopped the boat, get out and close the gates again. As record summer temperatures were forecast, it was great to be able to move my entire home under the cover of these trees, protecting it from the sun's heat. It turned out to make a huge difference to the temperature on board, and something I shall remember for the next heatwave. Until then, I'll see you later.